Hi friends, welcome to Heal and Grow with Sarah. I just talked about CBT and what cognitive behavioral therapy is, and if you don't know, you can go watch that video. And I thought I would also give an example of a CBT therapy technique, and that's behavioral action. And what behavioral action is thinking about what's better in the long term than the short term, and doing what's harder than easier because you know it's going to be better in the long term. And I made a cute little flow diagram because flow diagrams are fun, although I didn't realize that the font was going to be too small for y'all to see. So instead, I'm going to just show you parts of it while we're going through it. So here's where the little person starts. And then depression hits and the lightning strikes them. And then you come down here and it's, well, what am I going to do today? And you got two options. You can either do the no intervention option or you can do the behavioral activation option. So let's first look at the no intervention option. So you follow the little arrow to here, and then this is the short term, easier to do with no intervention. And then you come down here, you go over here, and you lay in bed because you just don't want to do anything because you're feeling depressed. And then you come over here, and then the long term is you feel sad. And so the depression might keep going, and then it's what do you want to do today? And you might not do any more intervention. And then you come back here to the short term, and you go back and you lay in bed. And you might do this a bunch of times. And that's where it's that downward spiral loop. But the good thing about behavioral activation is you could do this 1, 2, 3, 4 days, even longer, but then all of a sudden decide, I'm going to do behavioral activation. And so you can get out of that loop with behavioral activation. But I'm going to go back up here and explain the behavioral activation from the original way. So this is how to not even get into that loop. Is you come down here, what am I going to do today? You go up here, you do behavioral activation, and then you get back to this short term, but it's really hard to do, and that's actually where we were at before. And then you come up here and you're like, I'm going to do a fun activity. And assuming you like tennis, that's a fun activity. If you don't, I apologize, pick something different. And then you come over here, and in the long term, you're like, I'm feeling a little bit better. I got some exercise. We got those endorphins going. And then over here, you're like, what am I going to do today? And you think, I might keep going with this behavioral action. I'm feeling a little bit better. And, actions in motion, or objects in motion tend to stay in motion. And objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Good old Newton. So you often tend to stay in this nice loop here. I mean, granted, it's possible you could go back down to this loop. I mean, depression's hard. It's really hard. And I'm not going to lie. It's very hard to do that short term, really hard stuff to change what you want to do, because I know that you want to just lay in bed, or at least that's what I usually want to do. But you got to think about the long term, and that's what kind of gets you through, which I know is not easy at all. And so then this one is kind of the upward to joy loop. So we want to try and stay in this loop, not this loop down here. And so here, let me zoom in on this part here. The behavioral activation CBT technique, even though you may want to stay in bed because it's easier than doing something else, but in the long run, it's going to be better. And so depression, unfortunately, prevents you from doing the things you love sometimes, but behavioral activation is a technique to try and help combat depression. And so that is why we have behavioral activation. And hopefully that helped you understand what behavioral activation is. And hopefully today, if you're feeling down, you're going to try and do that hard thing. And you're going to try and go out and do something. And even if it's just take a shower, because sometimes I know you get that down that you don't even want to take a shower. So take a shower and be proud of yourself. Or if you're not at that spot, do whatever, wherever you're at, and be proud. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Be kind. You never know what's going on with somebody else. Thanks again. Bye.